Hello, I'm Brandon Cunningham. This is my Bible study. We're glad you're here. You can add your email to make sure you get these videos. We're going to post Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and just go through the Bible. So that's how you're going to get them. If you would like to donate, you certainly can. Thank you, Bill and Jill. I really appreciate that. But for now, it's completely free. We will have some paid options in the future of some special events that we'll do and those kind of things. But you got time for that. Don't worry about it. Let's see if you like it first. Hopefully you do. My goal is to get you to read the Bible. I'm not covering everything, I'm not covering every verse, but uh, I am going to kind of give a broad overview to hopefully make you go study more. Now, I'm using the Immerse Bible. It's a reading Bible. Basically, there's no chapters and verses, so it reads a little bit more like a novel. It's the New Living Translation. You can get that on the Bible app or pretty much anywhere. So, those are the ones I like. I also use the Complete Jewish Bible because I'm a big fan of the original Hebrew. I think it brings a lot of context. So, you're going to hear that a lot from me. So, let's jump right in to Genesis chapter 1. It says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Then God said, 'Let there be light,' and there was light, and God saw that the light was good. Then he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness night. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the first day. Then God said, 'Let there be a space between the waters to separate the waters from the heavens from the waters of the earth.' And that is what happened. God made this space to separate the waters of the earth from the waters of the heaven. God called this space sky. And evening passed and morning came, marking the second day. Then God said, 'Let the waters beneath the sky flow together into one place, so dry ground may appear.' And that is what happened. God called the dry ground land and the waters sea. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, 'Let the land sprout with vegetation, every sort of seed bearing plant and tree that grows seed bearing fruit. These seeds will then produce the kinds of plants and trees from which they came.' And that is what happened. The land produced vegetation, all sorts of seed bearing plants and trees with seed bearing fruit. Their seeds produced plants and trees of the same kind, and God saw that it was good. And evening passed and morning came, marking the third day. Then God said, 'Let the lights appear in the sky to separate the day from the night. Let them be signs to mark the seasons, days, and years. Let these lights in the sky shine down on the earth.' And that is what happened. God made two great lights, the larger one to govern the day and the smaller one to govern the night. He also made the stars. God set these lights in the sky to light the earth, to govern the day and night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And evening passed and morning came, marking the fourth day. Then God said, 'Let the waters swarm with fish and other life. Let the skies be filled with birds of every kind.' So God created sea creatures of every living thing that scurries and swarms in the water, and every sort of bird, each producing offspring of the same kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God blessed them, saying, 'Be fruitful and multiply. Let the fish fill the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth.' And evening passed and morning came, marking the fifth day. Then God said, 'Let the earth produce every sort of animal, each producing offspring of the same kind, livestock, small animals that scurry along the ground, and wild animals.' And that is what happened. God made all sorts of wild animals, livestock, and small animals, each able to produce offspring of the same kind. That's important. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, 'Let us make human beings in our image, to be like us. They will reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and the livestock, all the wild animals on the earth, and the small animals that scurry along the ground.' So God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. Then God blessed them and said, 'Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and govern it. Reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and the animals that scurry along the ground.' Then God said, 'Look, I have given you every seed bearing plant throughout the earth and all the fruit trees for your food. And I have given every green plant as food for all the wild animals and the birds in the sky, and the small animals that scurry along the ground, everything that has life. And that is what happened. Then God looked around at all he had made and said it was very good. And evening passed and morning came, marking the sixth day. Some of us have read that a number of times. Maybe you've only read the first sentence in the beginning, but there's some really important information in this first chapter. So let's break it down a little bit. There are two primary ways to know God that are his name and his characteristics, his attributes, the things about him. So God's introduced to us in the very first verse, in the first of many characteristics of God we find right there in that first verse. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The Hebrew word in our Bibles that translate to God is Elohim, and Elohim's used when speaking of false gods too. So we got to be careful because it just means the most high God, the chief God, basically. So uh, one of the questions that comes up is how long was a day? And if we look at the opening words, this kind of resolves itself because it says the creation of heaven and earth occurred at the beginning. So the first day was not necessarily the beginning. The first day could have been sometime later. We don't know. Adam and Eve, uh, were created fully formed human beings, able to reproduce. So uh, the thing that occurred on the first day really was the creation of light and the separation of darkness. That's what was created on the first day. How long the earth sat there dark and chaotic, we don't know. If Adam was formed as a fully formed man, there's no reason to think that the earth wasn't formed as a fully functioning planet millions of years old. We don't know that. There's no way to know that. So he began by creating light, and that's when we encountered the first day. So Hebrews count the day as starting at sunset, and they get that because of verse 5. So there was evening and there was morning the first day. So evening is the start of the day. That's how Hebrews measure it. So notice something on the first day. God says he created light, yet on the fourth day, God created the sun. So in verses 3 and 4, the Hebrew word for light is or, and it means illumination or enlightenment. When the Bible says that God is light, it says Elohim is or. He is enlightenment. It is a spiritual and physical light that we can't really comprehend for that much. But verse 14 talks about lights in the sky to divide the day and the night. And verse 16 says he created the larger light, the sun, to rule the day, and the smaller light, the moon, to rule the night. We see a different word for light in the Hebrew. It's marut. And so when God created light, or singular, he created illumination and enlightenment, a basic requirement for life. But when God created the light, marot, which is plural, he created objects that emit light waves that allow humans to see and use their eyes, and plants to reproduce, synthesis, something like that. So in the book of Revelation, we're told that there will no longer be marut because God will be our illumination. So we won't need a sun. We will have illumination. So look at the word darkness. In Hebrew, it's hosek. Hosek carries the sense of blindness, a darkness, misery, falsehood. It means something that leads to death and destruction. This is not the opposite of day. It is a darkness, not lack of light. So in verses 3 and 4, what God created was illumination and enlightenment. I think that the light in the first day is the same light in the first day of the new creation in Revelation 21 and 22. The spiritual counterpart of light, which is darkness, Hosek, will not be in the new creation. He says in Revelation, there will not be any darkness. There will not be any night. Now, we're four-dimensional beings. We're subject to time, but we also have this invisible property called spirit or soul. And humans are the only ones with that. It says we are made in the image of God. We have been given a certain attributes that he has. Our job is to find out what that is. Only man has the capacity to know God, and it is our spirits that allow that communication. So that's really important. We're going to learn the attributes of God, we're going to learn the different names of God, and we're going to grow a little closer to Him. So I invite you to go read chapter 1, enjoy it. The next couple of videos will cover chapter 2 and chapter 3. God bless. Take care.